Well, first, congratulations on your retirement,
Thank you.
and thanks for taking the time.
Oh, pleasure's mine.
So let's talk about the beginning. The mayor brought you in to kind of shake things up, to change the culture of the Denver Police Department. How'd you do that over 6 years?
Well, I will tell you, I think that goal was accomplished. If you question it, ask the executive board of the PPA, because they opposed every last one of those changes for the most part. Uh, you know, uh, First, and I've been fortunate. I've done this for 46 years and been a chief or an executive in 5 police departments. And just philosophically, I have this belief of what policing should be. Uh, our responsibility to communities across this country. And I've always believed that we could be better at doing what we've been doing. Uh, and that's what motivated me to get here. Normally, the first thing I would do is talk to a lot of people inside and outside the department, get from their perspective what works, what doesn't work, what they like, what they don't work, what they don't like, but also come in with a belief of where we need to be. And for us here in Denver, I think we need to make some significant changes. Uh, that start with changing the culture, which means you have to change what you value. That starts with policies, evaluations, how do you award people, how you discipline people. Uh, and we've done a lot of that. I mean, there's been a litany of things. I don't know if you've sort of gotten that report that we've done. And as a result of doing that, while it was not easy, and obviously it wasn't popular in the eyes of a lot of people, I think we made a lot of progress.
You just mentioned the mayor put out a long list of accomplishments, your accomplishments that you've taken on in the last 6 years. What are you most proud of?
I'm most proud of what I think our primary responsibility is, and that's the prevention of crime. Uh, but the key to that is our ability to connect with the community. You know, because the bottom line is, contrary to what a lot of people might think, crimes committed, the police come to make the arrest. I think it's a great job. Well, the goal is not to make the arrest because the crime didn't occur. And if we're going to be effective at doing that, we've got to establish relationships. I would tell you over the course of the last six and a half years, I think the men and women in this department have done a phenomenal job to better connect with the community. And I will tell you, long after I'm gone, I think you're going to see the fruits of those efforts, because if we're going to be successful at doing that for the long term, we need the eyes and ears of this community. And I think we have connected with thousands of people who we had not connected with before. And some of those individuals are some of the very ones that live in these really challenging areas that have been reluctant to deal with the police. But given the work that's been done by the men and women in this department, we've crossed some of those bridges. So of all the accomplishments that somebody want to say happened during my time, I think the greatest of those has been our ability to better connect with the community, because ultimately that's going to benefit what you and everyone else pay us to do, to be in a better position to prevent crime.
Given that long list of accomplishments, why retire?
Because I'm 40. I've been doing this for 46 years. I'm 65 years old, and I think I've pretty much done all that I could do. I think it's time to pass the baton on to somebody else, so they can build from our successes and mitigate some of the mistakes that have been made.
This is a retirement. You're not going to go search for another policing job.
No, you know what? Again, I have been blessed. As a matter of fact, I got a phone call yesterday. I said it was today, but it was yesterday, where somebody was saying, "Hey, man, I got the job for you. Hey, you need to consider this." I have no desire. I have no plans to pursue being a police chief again in America.
You've done what you wanted to.
I've done what I wanted to. Obviously, I could have done better, but yeah, I've accomplished pretty much what I wanted to accomplish in my career in law enforcement.
You've taken a lot of heat, a lot of criticism, like any police chief does. I want to be clear, does this retirement have anything to do with investigations into your handling of open records requests or that hit and run that you were involved in?
Yeah.
Does that have anything to do with you leaving?
No, I will tell you, if anything, it delayed my retirement.
Why is that?
Because to be perfectly candid, I had planned on retiring in December. But there were a couple of things I wanted to see happen before I retired. First of all, there are two significant policies that I want to see completed prior to me leaving. The use of force policy that we've been working on, and a data collection policy where we collect information where officers are making stops to see what we're doing right, to see what we're doing wrong, so we can correct it. Those two things are close to being completed. And the other thing I wanted to see brought to some closure were the malicious allegations, and I do mean malicious allegations that were made against me. That has pretty much concluded also. And if it had not been for that and those two things I wanted to see accomplished, I would have retired in December of 2017. So to answer your question is, that has absolutely nothing to do with my retirement. I'm not being forced out. I'm not being asked to leave. I'm not leaving as a result of those things. It's just my time. I think we've done a lot of good things in the last 6 years, and it's time to pass that baton on to somebody who I think that will continue to build from what we've done right, and as I stated, mitigate some of the things and not repeat some of the things that we could have done better, or some of the mistakes that were made along the way.
When you talk about writing malicious allegations, do you want to do that here? I mean, what do you want to say to people who made those allegations?
I want to say the executive board of the union, and I'm putting emphasis on the executive board, not the many men and women who are out there working their butt off every single day, played a significant role in both of those allegations. And I will also say that I am 100% sure that they were done as a result of their resistance to change. I walked into this agency being confronted about the direction that I wanted the police department to go by that executive board. And apparently I'm leaving with that still in the forefront of what their plan is. Let's resist change, regardless if it's for the greater good of this community and the greater good of the men and women in this department. It is something that they're not accustomed to seeing happen, where things are going to be different than how they were.
They were at the forefront of a lot of the flack that you got.
Much of it.
Including that no confidence vote.
Absolutely.
Did that no confidence vote sting as the leader of the people who made those votes?
Well, yeah, I mean, come on. It'd be realistic for me to say that didn't have a little sting. But I would also tell you that I wasn't surprised. It was something that was led by the executive board of the union again. And I think it was 40% of the members that according to them, because none of us never got to see who did it and who didn't do it and what their comments were, whether they were redacted or not. But according to them, it's 40% of the members that voted, and many of them voted for that. But I'm not surprised because, again, it was about transformational change, and it was about the resistance to change.
I don't want to sit here and talk about the union, but one last question on that point. What would your recommendation to a future chief be in dealing with that union?
Yeah, a great question, a legitimate question. Spend as much time as possible with the understanding that he or she is not going to be absolutely total convincing to them, but spend as much time as possible working with them, articulating what the plan is, getting their input to where it's appropriate to do that. But try to get as much buy-in as they could, understanding that they're not going to get complete buy-in. Be respectful of them, and hopefully they'll be respectful of you, even when they disagree with you. It doesn't become what it has been, where they're making malicious allegations, where they're calling the media every opportunity that they get, and they're getting other individuals inside and outside of the department to take their perspective as it relates to that. So, life is about relationships and trying to build those relationships, and that includes building relationships with individuals that have a different perspective than you do.
Do you have regrets? Would you change the way that you did anything in the last 6 years?
Sure. As I reflect back on my 46 years, and certainly my last 6.5 years, there's some things that I wish that I had done better. I wish I had spent more time, even though I think I spent a significant amount of time, but I wish I had spent even more time dealing with the troops, dealing with the sergeants. Everybody in the police department at some point, their first line supervisor is a sergeant, and that's the person that's out there in the street with the officers that we're expecting to deliver that service. And if you can get those sergeants to get on board philosophically, understand from an introspective what they're bringing to work every single day, and understanding that they impact probably 60% of the people that they're responsible for supervising. If you can get them to be where we need them to be, the job is a lot easier and we can be much more effective. So I did spend time with those sergeants and I did spend time with the troops. I cut away the layer of ranks. I probably talked to over 500 officers with just me and them. But I wish I had done more of that and I wish I had done it earlier.
Given that, are you happy with the environment that you're leaving at the Denver Police Department?
Yeah, I think it's been somewhat contentious the last year, as you well know, because of a lot of allegations and things that are going on. And obviously that can't, obviously it impacted me, it has impacted the administration, and to some degree it impacted the troops. But that aside, I will tell you that the men and women, for the most part, have come to work every single day, despite all of the politics evolving between me and the executive board of the union and others. They've come to work every single day and they've done their job. As a matter of fact, we have a chart. When I got here in 2011 compared to 2017, the officer's productivity has gone up 284%. And that is the productivity that we need to have in order for us to really have any long-term impact on preventing crime.
46 years in law enforcement. You've seen a lot. How do you think things have changed for the better, and how do you think things have become more challenging?
I think it's been an ebb and flow. You know, with the advent of everybody having a camera, you can only imagine that allegations and what people see and what they report has been a lot more fluent and a lot more frequent than 20 years ago or 30 years ago when I was out there walking a foot boot or riding a scout car. So that has become more challenging. But at the same time, it has also held us to a higher standard. And that's the good thing. And then when you see police officers involved, and the cameras play a significant role in this because everything becomes public, involved in controversial scenarios, I think law enforcement overall takes a dive. But then when you see police officers out there busting their butt every single day, and then we have those that give their life for this job, I think citizens become much more aware of these officers are out there, and they understand the importance of service above self, and they've made those supreme sacrifices. So I think there have been highs and lows as it relates to that over the last 10, 15, 20, 30 years. And to be honest with you, I think they're going to continue, depending on the environment and depending on what happens.
I know you've been asked this a lot today. When's your last day going to be?
Great question, and I don't know the answer to that. I made a commitment to the mayor that I would stay until he found a replacement. And I mean, he's very comfortable with some of the caliber of managers that we have on the police department. So I wouldn't be surprised if he ends up selecting someone inside. That process will be a lot shorter than obviously going outside. But my commitment to him and to the troops and to this community, that I will stay until he asked me to, and I will stay until my replacement is in place.
Did you recommend to him that he choose someone from within the department?
No, I haven't made any recommendations, but I suspect that I will get that opportunity.
Can you just talk briefly about your relationship with the mayor over the course of 6 years? I mean, he brought you on.
The mayor has brought me on, and I will tell you that the mayor has been supportive of me every step along the way, during the highs and during the lows. And I think the mayor has, and he's expressed a great appreciation for the progress that it's not me, we as a police department have made over the last 6 years. So I have a absolutely phenomenal relationship with the mayor.
Well, our final kind of thought here is, what do you want your legacy to be? How do you want the Denver community to remember Chief Robert White?
A couple things, and probably the most important is I want them to know that my primary responsibility was their safety. And I want them to know that all the changes, and I want the troops to know this also, that all the changes, and I mean all the changes that we've made, was to put us in the best position to ensure the safety of this community. And additionally, I want them to know that they are valued, and we realize it is that value in that relationship is going to help us get where we need to be in a better place as it relates to safety in our department. And we're a relatively safe community, but we're not as safe as I think we should be, or as we're going to be. And much of that is dependent on the department understanding philosophically what safety is about and understanding that their greatest resource are these residents. So I guess to answer that question in a more simpler fashion, I want them to know that they count, this community counts, they play a role in helping us provide their safety, and that we did everything we could to better connect with them. And we made a lot of progress as related to that. So I want them to know that from a police perspective, from a broader general police perspective. From a personal perspective, I want them to know I'm a big sports guy, and I'm sure you heard the coach talk to the football team saying, this is your last day, this is your last game as a senior, or this is our Super Bowl. You got to leave it all out on the field. So when it's all said and done, you should be able to look in the mirror and say, I gave it my best. When it's all said and done, I left it all out on the field. I can look in the mirror and say that I gave it my best.
The day you leave, where are you headed? White Sandy Beach? What?
Well, number one, we're going to stay here in Denver.
Okay.
But number two, the day I leave, I'm taking my entire family, which is 13 individuals. We're going to go to the Dominican Republic.
Beautiful.
Absolutely.
Thanks, Chief.
Thank you.